Welcome to Warblock. Today we're going to look at the Battle of the Kodori Valley. I'm just going to play it. It's part of a few wars actually. It was part of the Abkhaz-Georgian conflict, but it's also part of the Russo-Georgian war. That's the answer to that question. So basically, Georgian forces occupied this Kodori range, Kodori Valley. It's not that easy to sort of picture. Really, I could do with more sort of gradient type hills and things like that. But I put the path in. I don't know where the path is, but I put this sort of track in just to sort of help visualize where the valley went. You can also get a sense for it by looking at these rivers, which all sort of, this one clearly ends there and comes down here. So what starts here, comes down here, starts here. Don't know where these ones are, but this one starts here and obviously comes down this way. This one starts, etc., etc. So you can see there's enough clues here to suggest that this is a sort of catchment area that's culminating all the way down to this larger river here. Now, essentially, these are the Abkhazian forces, and these are the Georgian forces. Georgia's sort of more towards the east down here, southeast, but Abkhazia is actually just a part of Georgia, and they were sort of succeeding. They were independent. They were sort of going it alone, so to speak, and so they're in there as part. I think partly because of basically we've got the other part of this here. The war in Abkhazia, and basically what we've got here, there's the Kodori Gorge there, so to speak, but the Georgians just attack in through, I think, this position here, make a naval landing there, and they send in quite superior forces. It's quite interesting actually, because these are superior forces. They don't really have a lot of trouble. And so presumably later on in the war, when the Russians started to help them, because there's Russia, they were able to fight back, because the Russians were fighting the Georgians, and so they probably couldn't spend as much attention over here. And then these sort of Abkhazians sort of rose up and fought back. But I think there's some claims that there were Russians helping them, so they weren't just sort of doing it on their own, so to speak. And key and part of that is that it's sort of not widely admitted or known even. It's suggested that there were a lot of Russians involved, and it wasn't just the Abkhazians, doing their thing, because we didn't have the equipment. I mean, to start off with, if you read the Wikipedia through, they've got MiG-29s. Well, they have aircraft. I don't know whether they've got MiG-29s, but they have aircraft that they use. And I suspect that it might be Russian aircraft, but I don't know. I just suspect that. But it doesn't say anything about that. But it does say there were rumours of Russian units involved. So I've put these two in there just to sort of indicate that. So which country was Abkhazia attempting to break away from? So we know that, Georgia. This is one of these, not a trick question, but what the hell, which UN mission was at the time in the Kodori Valley? Well, there's plenty to interpret from there, but it's the second one, United Nations observation mission in Georgia. I might even got that right. Who was the president of Abkhazia? Well, I know it wasn't this last one, because he was a Georgian military leader, so it definitely wasn't him. It's one of these, and I think it's this one. And how many people had lived in the Upper Kodori Valley before the war? That's interesting. I wonder why it should say 3. That's sort of wrong. I mean, not that it should say anything, because 2000 is the right answer, so. Yeah, so I got 5 out of 5. Look at that. Aren't I good? Okay, well, bloody hell. 5 whole minutes doing that. I'll play the game now. So essentially they use a lot of artillery for the first sort of day or two. They just are using artillery, and so I'm so far away from this giant screen I can't see that, but I think it's a 6. I think these have 6 range, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can get up there, so they can probably work quite well along these paths, so to speak. So if we replicate that by going for the first 2 turns without really engaging, so how far can this rocket unit get? Yeah, so we can't move any further than that. So, but what we can do is start moving these guys through the hills, so they won't be able to get any further. We can move him along one, and him along one. And these two can just follow along like that. So, we've got air power, rockets, and things. So I think what might be best doing is attacking this. I'm just unsure whether to do the air power first or the artillery. So that was quite a lot of indirect fire, and they're both down a fair amount. Good if we could just sort of rout them. Well, this could get one of them. Yes, it did. Okay. So that's the first sort of period of artillery fire. Okay, so the Georgian forces, well, basically you've just seen a unit rout. It's a strange setup really, because it reminds me of one of those games where the enemy has been deliberately placed for absolutely no reason equally throughout this sort of progressive geography or terrain. I've seen this. I saw this sort of YouTube video that was all about it being a really great animation, and they set this sort of war game up, and basically a lot of it was sort of artificial intelligence, so to speak, or the AI of the gaming system. But it set this thing up, and it's just typical. So these troops would land at a beach, and there would be this row of sort of like bizarrely shaped sort of sand in entrenchments or little pillboxes, and then so that you'd have to sort of run up the beach and deal with all these sort of these enemy positions. But then once you won that, there's a next line of sort of defences, with maybe sort of heavy machine guns in them, etc., etc. So and then it just goes on. And I started thinking, well, these games are not sort of realistic, because if these were trenches, if you were looking to defend this trench, you would continue defending that trench. When these people died, you'd send some more up as reinforcements. When some people died, send them up as reinforcements. So you wouldn't let the enemy go, beat this, and then come in here, beat that, then come through here, get to town, beat that. You might not. I mean, that might happen because of this particular game, but in these sorts of games, that sort of stuff doesn't happen. This would be a trench, and they'd all be queuing up to replace this guy as they fell. War games tend not to do that, especially things like Call of Duty and all the other ones. The sort of the Xbox games, etc. Because you just run through sort of progressively taking things out, and there'll be this really good, entrenched line, sandbags and with good gun emplacements, but there's only two people guarding it. As soon as you shoot them, you can move up, and there's another 100 people behind them. None of them came forward to sort of, fill that trench. It always turns me off really with regards to sort of games like that. But what to do here? So essentially, we've got this option, and we've got this dilemma of: do we treat it like that, or do we keep moving things forward into the fray? Yeah, that's what I was hoping. But I wasn't sure. Okay, so we've now replaced that unit. This is really interesting because I think subconsciously I'm determined not to play it like a stupid Xbox game. So moving them all forward. It's going to be quicker to go this way, isn't it? No, it would have been quicker this way because we've got 1, 2. Next turn it's going to be 1. So clever. Okay. Yeah. So continuing with the artillery. The indirect fire. The thing is, they don't have anything to fire back. We didn't say they did. It seemed to be a particularly challenging campaign, and I think that's sort of apparent here. I mean, that is pretty much all there is. Obviously, they get some Russian reinforcements later, but that's not really a huge amount more. Just 33% or 25% more if you look at those stacks. So, I think they're really going to just walk through all these units. I think that's probably what's going to happen. They can't fire back, so the only real way to deal with this is to actually attack, and they don't have the numbers for that either. But it's better than dying, I think. Okay, let's just do it again. No effect, no effect. 0.9, 0.3. Oh, that was good. So that'll be 2.8. And like 2.4. Huh. Another set of units on their way out. Okay. Well, this guy's hurt. So I'm going to push him off the path here. These guys too. I think I moved the wrong one. I'm thinking that there might have been a better way to have played this. No, it was definitely quicker to go the other way. That would have been to, let me get the drawing tool out. So instead of trying to hold this line here, did I press that or what? Oh no. You have to leave them open. I don't know what I was doing there. I was selecting it and then I know what I thought it was. So it was the map. I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, what I'm saying is, instead of forming this line here, like that, which is sort of what we're doing, and repairing this fantastic front line trench, and then having all these other units come up and reinforce, what I should have done was place the line, fallen back to about here. So these units would have gone this way, and these units would have gone this way, meaning that when they did meet, retreating as fast as these units could, there would be a much larger mass of units, and they would all be there about the same time. The problem that we got over here is that they're just being destroyed piecemeal. We've had one routed, one's over here, this guy's had to step aside, they're going to destroy this lot next, they'll move somewhere, then they'll destroy the next lot. And that's stupid, so I should have gone back like this and formed the line. That would be definitely a better way to do it, although they've still got superior artillery. I'm not going to do any more of that because I'm absolutely really tired, but I think that's quite an interesting game that the Georgians could never win. But they didn't win anyway, but I'm not sure how much they were sort of beaten back truly by the artillery. I mean, it does say artillery was a big part of it. And I'm suggesting, I would imagine they probably didn't need a lot of artillery based on, knowing how the war was going and what they were up against. They probably left sooner rather than later. I don't know though. But I think these are the Greater Caucasus up here. These are all mostly mountains, but I think you could probably follow this valley up and then, get out into Russia or Georgia. Okay, I'll leave it at that. I'll speak to you later. Cheerio.